right, welcome everybody to DriveThru GED. This is where you learn some of the things you wish that you learned in high school and you did not as pertaining to automotive. So we'll jump right in. Today what we're going to talk about is credit, how to build credit, kind of what affects a credit score. As a reminder, I have a background in finance, did finance for BMW Financial North America, have seen a lot, can tell some stories. I was probably like 16, 17, and I was with my friend Tyler, and he said, I want to buy a new Subaru WRX. So it was going to be his first car. I was excited, and this is when I really learned like what credit was. Went with him to the dealership. He went in to get the car financed. I was kind of like eating popcorn and drinking soda in the lobby while he was in the finance office. And he came out and he's like, we gotta go. I'm like, we gotta go? Why do we gotta go? I couldn't get financed. What do you mean you couldn't get financed? I didn't really know what it meant. He said, I've got good credit and everything, but I'm a ghost is what this said. And I said, well, what's a ghost? Ghost means I have not bad credit or good credit. It means I have no credit. It means that when they pull my name up, nothing shows up like a ghost. So we left. I was so excited that we were going home in a WRX. We ended up going home in his like 88 Toyota truck that didn't even have a bed on the back. So sad day, tears. So let's jump into like, what is a credit score? Where do credit scores come from? In the 50s, Bill Fair got with Earl Isaac, and they put together the Fair-Isaac Company, which translates into, and I actually didn't know this until I started really looking into this, FICO, right? That's when you hear FICO score, it's because of the Fair-Isaac Company, FICO. It's an equation. An engineer and a mathematician got together, said this is a risk analysis that we need to complete so that we can build out FICO scores, and so that banks know who to give money to. The whole idea is assigning a risk score, so like a 350 to an 850 would be your risk score, your FICO score, and depending on how you do based on certain criteria, is what your score is. So like perfect credit's 850. Typically for like, and maybe this is going too far in, when you're looking at like an automotive loan, for example, or a lease, they have a requirement for what tier. So when you hear tiers are, here's what my credit score is, my FICO score, my 350 to 850. So here's my tier, and here's the associated interest rate. So the way that they're going to charge interest, and we're going to jump into that on a different video. But essentially what you're doing is you're trying to figure out where do I come in with my score compared to what the rates are. Typically, what they consider to be tier one or your top tier would be a 720 or above. And then there are breakdowns below that. So when you see advertised prices, when you see advertised rates from like credit unions, banks, especially like when an auto manufacturer runs like their own commercials and they say 0% APR, 60 months, whatever, they are typically going to give the best rate possible on an ad, but it will say, you know, on an unapproved credit. So the question that we're at today is kind of how do you get into an approved credit? How do you get these scores, especially if you're young? How do you build into them? There are 5 major pieces that kind of run into how you get a credit score. And I would say from top to bottom, it's payment history, credit usage, length of credit history, credit mix, so like what types of cards, what you're using them for in recent credit. There are other factors that will impact your FICO. There are things like your debt to income, meaning how much money do you make versus how much debt do you have. There are a lot of different things. So payment history obviously is the first one. Payment history is the biggest, the most important. Will you repay debt? So the bank wants to know if you're going to pay debts back. They also want to know, do you have a long history in that? So what does that look like? Have you made a few payments? If you've made like 2 payments, they don't care. They want to see years of you making payments and whatnot. But if you're 17, turning 18, 18, 19, 20, whatever, and you're just probably more concerned right now with like, I don't have credit history. I know I'm going to make my payments. How do I do that? So, yeah. When I was in high school, my friend ended up buying this Prelude. He was able to finance it, and it kind of got me to thinking about like, when you're in high school, how do you get a car like that? Because you can't work for it. You can't buy that car cash unless somebody gave you money. You're from a fortunate family. Grandma died. I don't know. Sorry, Grandma. I did not have that growing up. I didn't have that family, that dynamic. So I drove a very old car, like a $3,000 car in high school. This kid with his brand new Prelude, it's like the equivalent of showing up with a Type R Civic today. Like as if you were to just show up with a brand new $40,000 car, no problem, and tell people that you bought it cash. So it got me to thinking about this topic, I guess, here for the video. You're young, you want to go buy cars and houses and all this stuff. Keep in mind, again, I'm not a pro. I've been in finance, I have a background in it. Don't take my advice too seriously. Take it into consideration as you go and try and build your credit. What I would say the first thing to do if it were me, if you can, go be a co-signer on your parents' credit card account. Credit card companies will let you do that. The reason for that is if payments are defaulted on, they go to your parents, not you. Your parents can put you as a co-signer on the account. That will start to develop your credit history. If you are not in that position and you are looking to build your credit, I would say the first basic stuff to do is just get a bank account, get a job, start to learn to make money, to budget your money, learn how to keep track of it and make some good habits now while you're younger. And then when you're 18, go ahead and get your first credit card. Go ahead and get some payments, maybe take on a cell phone bill. Cell phone bills are tough. I know cell phone companies don't loan or sign you up as easily as like a credit card will, because a credit card, they can minimize their damages by giving you like a $200 limit. So what I would say first, go get a bank account, savings account, whatever, checking account. Prior to being 18, you can do that. What I would do now, you've turned 18, it is time to walk into that credit union, that bank, that branch, wherever you started. You've developed a relationship for the last couple of years because you've been working. Walk into that branch manager and say, I'm ready for a credit card. I'm 18, it's time, I've got history with you guys, let's go. They're going to give you a really crappy rate. They're going to give you a really crappy credit card. You're probably going to have 20% APR. But here's what you do. Is you use the credit card for everything that you can and you pay it off. Obviously, you're still working with a budget. You're going to have a budget built out, but you're going to put something on that credit card and pay it off. Put it on and pay it off. Keep doing that. You might be getting points or other things, but be really diligent in this. Be really structured and methodical. Set up auto pay if you can. Auto pay definitely helps. The banks like to see that. Start to develop a credit history, and that's a great way to do it if you want to go slowly into this. When you're 18, kind of the gradual way is to have small payments, pay them off. Maybe you're moving out, maybe you're getting an apartment. Put that kind of stuff in your name. Now, if you want to have a more aggressive way, I would say do everything I just said. But if you're making enough money, you're working hard, please have a job if you're going to go out and try and borrow money. But if you are making money and you have time and you can do this and you've developed the skills and the habits to pay your bills, go buy a car. Seriously. People will tell you never do this, buy your cars cash, do this, that, and the other. I'll tell you some of the craziest stories I've had in finance would be that people with $1 million would come in and they couldn't buy a car because they were so against credit that they had to buy their cars cash. They couldn't even get financing. But what I would say is go in to whatever place and buy a cheap car. Don't buy the nicest car. Don't go buy a $40,000 car. Go buy a car that you know you can afford the payment on. And what's going to happen is you're going to have, because you have no credit yet, you're going to have a pretty high rate, which is okay. But what I would do is buy a car, pay on it for like 6 months, and then sell it. Okay, so don't get something that you're too attached to, but do your research. Do get a deal on it so that car is not going to depreciate in the 6 months at a super crazy rate. But if you want to get your credit score up pretty quickly and you're 18, buying a car and paying an exorbitant amount on an interest rate for 6 months and then selling it, pretty good plan. At this point, we've talked about kind of what credit scores are. I've given you an idea of how to build credit early. Now let me give you just some tips that are going to keep you building your credit, improving, getting better and better. So the first thing, if you can, become an authorized user on an account, whether that is a credit card. Sometimes cell phone companies, I think, will let you do that. But I think the credit card is the only one that will start to establish credit history before you're 18. We're not all in that position where we can do that. My parents never would have put me on as an authorized user on a credit card or given me a credit card. The next thing is when you are 16, figure out your job, figure out your income. What kind of money do you make? What can you take on? Start to build out budgets, start to understand what you can do and what you can pay for. And then from there, just get into really good habits, right? Figure out how to do it. Budget for your food, your clothes, your lunch, whatever, your gas. Maybe pay for your insurance. I don't know. You're probably on your parents' plan if you live at home still at 16. But create a budget in an account there. And then when you turn 18, I would say the first two things to do, sign up for something like Mint. If you weren't already on Mint when you're 16, when you turn 18, go ahead and get that. I would probably say just get a Mint account or something like that even before. I don't know what the legal age is for one, but I think that you can sign up young because it's a tool, it's an app. At 18, go get the credit card. Go find something you can make payments on. If you want to get really crazy and you have the budget and you've built out a really good system for paying your bills, go get a car payment, start making payments. Understand that you're going to have a higher interest rate, but that interest rate you can refinance. If you like that car and want to keep it, you can refinance it later, or you can sell the car. But having a car payment really builds it out fast. Getting a cell phone, if that's in line, could build that out fast. The idea is to start mixing, have different types of credit, different obligations, show them that you can build history, and that you are a good, outstanding bill-paying client. They will take care of you, but I will say that the better your credit is, the more doors will open for you as far as opportunities that you can take, risks that you can take. You can certainly do things with your credit that other people cannot do. There are definitely risks that you can take starting businesses and that. So, all right. So again, the steps being, become an authorized user if you can. I know this isn't an option. If you cannot become an authorized user, just go start a bank account, get a budgeting app, start learning how to budget and manage your money. When you turn 18, step 2 would be go get a credit card, get credit monitoring, and that. Step 3, if you want, I would say this is maybe part of it, would be to go get a car. Go buy a car, pay high interest on it, but do shop the rates, do shop the dealerships. Don't go into a dealership falling in love with one car. We'll talk about that later. Maybe in the next video we can talk about how to buy a car, how to lease a car. Do not expect to lease a car at 18. That's probably never going to happen. You can co-sign, I guess I should say that too. Even when you're buying a car, you can get a co-signer on there. Again, my parents never would have done that, so I guess it's not even an option for me. It may be an option for some of you to get a co-signer. Again, in the next episode, as we talk about buying cars, we'll talk about what that looks like. Anyway, so those are some of my tips and tricks for how to build your credit, how to build it quickly, and just understanding that. I appreciate everybody for joining in on this channel. I look forward to hearing from you. Please leave comments below. Let me know what you'd like to learn more about. Again, this is purely my opinion. This is for fun. Your life may not get better from doing anything I tell you. It could get worse. So you need to take control of your own life.